So, with the Dubois AJ fight, everyone seems to be saying the same thing about Dubois' weakness is, oh, is he a quitter? You know, people think he quit against Usyk and Joyce. If he takes the right hands that Hrgović put on him from AJ, he's going to go to sleep. But I'm going to take a slightly different approach. So, I think Dubois' main weakness is, or will be, can he get through the first few rounds? Because in the past, that's where we've seen him make a lot of mistakes. Obviously, in the Filip Hrgović fight, he took lots of right hands in the first hand. But if you go back to his fight before Usyk against Kevin Lerena, he got dropped 3 times in the first round. And he was very lucky that the fight didn't get stopped. Because a lot of fights are just, waved off after the third knockdown. And Garner got knocked down 3 times. That's when it was over. I mean, obviously, it was a very heavy knockdown anyways. A knockout, really. But I think Dubois, maybe he's just not quite accustomed to the big stage yet, to being in these big fights, the adrenaline, the moment, the nerves, the excitement, it can all sort of get to him. An adrenaline dump, they call it. So I think if Dubois can get through, the first few rounds, keep his head, stick to the game plan, not get too put off by the big occasion, I think Dubois will have a good chance of winning, before he's maybe been like a rabbit in the headlights. So I think that will be key for Dubois, just getting through those first few rounds, establishing his jab, because apparently his jab feels like a right hand. That's what, Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen, people who have sparred with him have said that his jab is really powerful. I think it will be interesting to see if these guys have good defense as well, because often when, you're just constantly attacking all the time and you're knocking these guys out, you don't get to, practice, defending as much. Obviously, AJ, I'm sure, would have done that against Usyk twice, would have, had to have defended and will have taken some heavy punches. But I think for me, that's what I'm looking forward to finding out, how good are these guys at defending? Because both of them, obviously, huge power punchers. Joshua, a really good counter puncher as well, which he doesn't get enough credit for. But Dubois' last points win was 2018. And AJ's was in 2023 against Jermaine Franklin. Obviously, when he was probably in like a mentally lower place with lower confidence after just having lost to Usyk twice. So I think it's very likely we're going to see a knockout. As I said, I think for Dubois, if he can get through those first few rounds and keep his head, I think he'll be with a good shot for winning. I think for AJ, I heard that, I can't remember who said this, but I think I heard it somewhere that apparently like the win against Klitschko like took a lot out of him. Like, obviously when you're looking at it from like a fan's perspective, you're like, oh my God, that's awesome. He got off the floor to win and knock out Klitschko, but it takes a lot out of you. You can see, at points in that fight that, he's absolutely exhausted on his feet and, your body's going through so much pain. It's that, it's complete limits. You've been knocked down, you're absolutely exhausted, So to keep going and push through, it takes you to a really dark place. Like, obviously he would have enjoyed the result, but apparently he found the fight itself really hard. So I think it'll be interesting to see, if Joshua can go back. Because I can definitely see, I think it's very possible he gets knocked down in this fight. Obviously Dubois didn't knock down Miller or Hrgović, but I think Hrgović was on his way out, and Miller's just so big that I don't think I think like a truck would be needed to knock him down. And you can tell that his punches were affecting Miller. He can keep his hands, keep his hands up towards the end of the fight. It was basically just a walking punching bag. So yeah, I think that'll be like the main 2 things I'll be interested to see from both of the fighters. As I said, I think Dubois' main strength will be his jab. Having a jab that powerful, definitely a weapon. Maybe, I guess they've sparred before. I think, from what I've heard, Dubois had AJ out on his feet in sparring maybe 7 years ago. 7 years ago, right? So you got to, I don't know how much credit you're giving that, but so I guess Dubois will be feeling confident, from that spar. But saying that, it was 7 years ago and Hrgović was, this sparring monster, beat up everyone in sparring, but, you know, he lost to Dubois. So I don't think you can take too much from sparring. You know, people are in different mentalities, obviously bigger gloves. I think both fighters are going to feel confident going into it. AJ's rebuilt. He's with his new trainer. Dubois got his new trainer. You know, and Dubois will feel like, you know, he would have cast out his demons, you know, after arguably quitting against Usyk and Joyce. You know, people give him credit for his win over Hrgovic and Miller. He looked exhausted at some point, but he kept going and he got the stoppage. So I think it'll be a very intriguing fight. Because apparently Dubois has got more power than AJ as well. Lawrence Okoli, who sparred with them both, said that Dubois has more power, but AJ is quicker, so I don't think there's too much to take away from that, but just something to keep in mind. I think it will depend on the game plan. I think if Dubois manages to, you know, somehow halt Joshua's counter-punching, and if he makes Joshua uncomfortable and, you know, uses some of the dark arts like he did against Hrgovic, I can see Dubois having success. If he gets through the, you know, the first few rounds, unsettles AJ a bit, I can definitely see Dubois having success in this fight. And I think for AJ, he's so powerful now, isn't he? He's such a power puncher, great counter puncher. You know, I can easily see him winning as well. So I think I'll go AJ. I'll go AJ. If I was pushed for a prediction, I'd say AJ stoppage, but I don't like writing the bar off. I do think it's a 60-40 fight coming into it, like percentage-wise, 60 to AJ, 40 to Dubois, but take it that what you will. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the fight. Difficult one to predict, but a great fight for British boxing nonetheless, and a great undercard. I was watching the face-offs, and Willie Hutchinson and Buatsi, I think, is definitely going to be fiery. I think Willie Hutchinson has the capabilities to beat Buatsi. Buatsi, he's got a lot of good wins, but he's never sort of like put his stamp on the division, you know. It feels like if there are a newer light heavyweights coming into his division, they're kind of overtaking him. Like, you know, before, you know, he was that next guy to fight Bivol or Beterbiev, but now Benavidez, you know, has just moved up, and, you know, people have kind of forgotten about Buatsi. So hopefully, well, for Buatsi, he needs to make a statement, and obviously for Hutchinson, he just needs to win. So I think that's the fight I'm most looking forward to. I thought maybe it would be further up on the undercard, but there are lots of other good fights on there as well. Liam Smith, Josh Kelly, Kakachi, Warrington, etc. Leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. What are the weaknesses and strengths of both these fighters? Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.